All right. Welcome everybody back to HSC Podcast 62. We are in season 3, episode 4, maybe 5. 4 or 5. It's close enough. And so without the NFL to talk about, we're going to talk a little bit about NBA today and then into one of our favorite subjects, movies. Hopefully that's one of your favorite subjects. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Anchor, thanks for listening. Love to see those Anchor or those Spotify views continuing to grow. So apparently people still like to hear us. And so we'll maybe cancel our cameras and just talk. That's why they're not viewing us on YouTube, Wes, because
But
we're not good looking.
You need to just have the black the face, and then muffled voices, like Unsolved Mysteries or whenever they're talking to mob enforcers that are
They just like to hear. It's like to hear us. So we're gonna do a lot of movies tonight, which is one of my favorite topics, and I know you guys love movies as much as I do. But before we do that, I do want to talk a little NBA. We're
Are
coming,
you sure
obviously.
Wes might not want to talk NBA?
Yeah. We're in the obviously the conference finals, and tonight Denver beat LA again, but another close game, which I didn't think LA would play them that tough. Like, how do you guys feel like LA playing close games against Denver? Was that expected?
it's fixed, isn't it?
No, that's the draft lottery.
That's draft lottery.
Well, hold on. If the draft lottery is fixed, why wouldn't
Yeah.
the games be fixed? I mean,
Well, did you hear, like, who was it? It was Memphis was talking about this against the Lakers, right? How they were calling all the fouls. And
We'll go
then
back to the Kings back in.
yeah. Wait a minute. That's what I was gonna say. What are we talking about? This is like 20 years ago. Like, remember that series?
oh, the King, yeah.
No,
That
garbage.
was fixed, dude. That, I
It
mean,
was garbage.
because think about that Kings team. Was that not one of the better teams that you've seen in a long time? Like you had
With
uh
shit. Like
Weber,
chocolate, dude.
Bibby,
Bibby,
Chris Webber.
Stojakovic,
Stojakovic,
Divac,
Divac,
Doug Christie.
Doug Chris. I mean, just and then it came down to the last couple games, and then a lot of foul calls. I guess when you think about like fixing NBA games, which I'm not going to say they're fixed, but because I don't know, but at the same time, like it's hard to not believe when you see a lot of foul calls like they see the Lakers. You know how many free throws the Lakers have shot these playoffs?
I
Like
don't know.
they're shooting 25 to 40 free throws a game.
Oh, Jesus.
A game.
I don't know. I admit I didn't see it. I just saw the results of the game. I turned on the ESPN and then I saw the Lakers loss. So
But think
I was
about
really upset for LeBron because
yeah.
it's very upsetting to me because everybody, is really rooting for the guy because he's never won anything. So
Yeah, but he's also not shooting the ball that well. I think he went over 6
because he's
from
not that
3-point.
good. He's 38.
He's he's
Well,
been
he
a
shouldn't be shooting
physical
3-pointers.
specimen.
That's what LeBron
Right.
should not be doing. If you watched like the very end, it's what I don't understand with LeBron at all. Because he could just drive to the hoop
right.
and get fouled or make a basket every single time.
And you think about game 1 when they're down 3, right? He's got Jamal Murray on him, who has 5 fouls, and LeBron pulls that 3. It's like, why are you not driving on Jamal Murray with 5 fouls at in the last minute? He's got 5 fouls. Like either way, either he fouls out or you get an easy layup or somebody else comes over and double teams and fouls you. but you pull a 3 against a guy who's 4 inches, 5 inches shorter than you. And so, I mean, I know the Jordan, LeBron, it's who's
Yep.
that guy on ESPN? Man, dude, I hate that guy.
Which one, Reddick or Perkins?
No,
Or
not those two. The other dude, he's the white guy with the greasy hair and the mustache, or
Sounds like a hockey guy. You talking about a hockey
yeah.
guy, dude? Sounds like hockey, man.
So he was talking. So he made this
leg wear?
argument
No.
about how LeBron ended the best franchises in the league because he beat the big three of the Celtics, and then he beat
Oh, jeez.
the Dallas franchise, and then he beat the post KD Golden State Warriors. But yeah, the thing is like, dude, Jordan wouldn't pull a 3 at the near the end of the game against a shorter guy with 5 fouls.
No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Well, have you seen the meme out there that it's like it shows the Jordan era, best player, most championships in the Jordan era, Jordan. The Kobe era, most
Oh
championships,
yeah.
Kobe.
Kobe.
LeBron era, most championships,
Steph.
Curry.
Steph, yeah.
Jordan didn't let. I mean, look at how many Hall of Famers didn't get rings because of Jordan.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, but and you feel bad for those dudes. I mean, I'm not a big Karl Malone fan, but still, I'm like, dude, that kind of sucks, Carl.
Well, Barkley, Ewing,
but Barkley,
Stockton,
I
Malone,
like
Gary Payton.
Yeah.
Payton? Like, how do you not like Gary Payton?
Well, I don't got one because he went to the Rockets when Jordan was retired.
Yeah,
you gotta admit though that those Utah teams were really good.
Oh,
really
they knew how to play basketball,
right?
Well, and still, like, you know what? We're really not that good athletically. We'll just beat you fundamentally,
right? Until you go against Jordan. Yeah. Until you go up against Jordan.
Yeah, well, but you know what? They were awful close to beating Jordan.
Right.
Both times.
They didn't go. Did they go to a game 7? Neither. Yeah, nobody did. No. Nobody's gone to a game 7 against Jordan. So no one has gotten that close.
So talking about the Lakers Denver series, just for
Reggie
a second,
Miller,
though.
Another one that didn't win.
Oh yeah, dude. How many times did Reggie Miller just and those Indiana teams were good though. Reggie Miller is good, great, right? But he had a lot of good players on his
Rick
team.
Smits.
Yeah. The Davises,
Detlef Shrimp for a little bit, and then it was Derek McKee.
That was rough.
Dominique Wilkins never won a ring. Right. The Hawks teams were pretty good. Yeah. The Cavs with Brad Doherty and Mark Price were really good.
Yeah, and Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. But for 1 second, and I know I just want to go back to this topic because look at the first 2 games of this series that look at Jokic's numbers. You can't tell me this guy's not MVP.
That's not even MVP. We're talking about this guy being the best player in the NBA.
He's the first player in NBA history to have 4 straight 20-point triple doubles in the postseason.
It's incredible, dude. You look at his stat line every night.
But here's the thing. I don't want to say, but we're in Portland, so East Coast bias. How many people in New York were watching Denver Nugget games?
Right.
Why?
So they're all they said was they're like, you know what? We'll do the lazy narrative. He's a stat padding. He's Westbrook. He's just pads his stats.
Yeah, but look at Mark Jackson didn't even put him on his ballot.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's ridiculous because he never watched him.
He admitted. He's like, how do you forget? He said, I forgot about Jokic. Like,
really?
How do you forget about Jokic, dude?
Right. How do you forget about the best stats in the league?
Dude.
it's the problem I have with it is that when you're in the Western Conference Finals and you start with, 20, 30 points, 40 points or whatever, plus, 15, 20 rebounds, plus 10, 15 assists, who does that?
Well,
The only thing I could say, the excuse, I'll come up with an excuse for everyone. It's voter fatigue. I'll give you examples. Like LeBron probably should have won MVP a bunch more than he did, right? He was the best player in the league, but other people won it. Another example, and we're going outside of basketball, but baseball, Clayton Kershaw, his first 8 seasons in the league, he was a Cy Young 3 times and was runner-up 3 times. His next 8 seasons, he was runner-up once, never won the Cy Young, but his stats are identical.
So you're saying it's hard to keep voting for the same person over and over again.
And the whole debate has been, Embiid, the last 3 years, it's always been about Jokic or Embiid, right?
Right.
So Jokic got 2. So then I think people are like, well, we need to vote for Embiid now.
And another problem is with Embiid is Embiid had a really good year. I get it. But he just kind of broke down in the playoffs. He got hurt.
He always gets
just like
hurt.
everybody's hurt in the playoffs. The reason why everybody's hurt in the playoffs, they play too many freaking games.
Dude, Jokic plays 40 minutes a night.
Old days, I understand. Those dudes can play 82 games. What was the stat about Michael Jordan? How many times did Michael Jordan play 82 games?
Like
a
9
lot.
Seasons, yeah.
Look at Stockton.
Every season. John Stockton, every season.
Right.
These guys can't play 82 games, And so they're going to have to figure something out here because the playoffs suck, honestly. Because these guys, they don't feel well. They're tired.
But Jokic, dude.
Oh, darn, we got to play basketball. Let me ask you guys a question. How many days do we play basketball and how many hours do we play basketball for like 10 years?
But we're not playing NBA basketball.
I understand. We also didn't get paid millions of dollars for that.
Right.
Here's the thing. Here's why. You're complaining that they're breaking down and everything. The Lakers played 8 people.
Right.
LeBron played 40 minutes. Anthony Davis played 41 minutes. If you want to save your guys, maybe go into your bench. Tristan Thompson's on the bench. Malik Beasley. Play some other guys for like 4 minutes.
They do. I have guys on the bench.
I also think it has to do with the CBA because the CBA is changing, right? Where if you don't play 65 games, you can't be first team all NBA.
Right. And that goes into your like supermax contracts.
Right, exactly. So I think that
honestly,
I think
the
CBA hurt that.
A lot better. I guarantee you. We've already talked about this. Outdoor Basketball Association. There we go.
Outdoor basketball.
Dude,
the OBA.
The OBA, man. It would be legit.
It's like the XFL, right?
It will, dude. It'd be a lot better than XFL.
XFL, the 4-9 team made the playoffs.
No, it was 6-6.
Oh no, they weren't.
Arlington was 6-6.
No, they were under 500.
Washington was like 9-1. Arlington was 5-6, and they won the championship, so that made them 6-6. And I'm like, really? What is like the XFL champion is 6-6?
That's crazy. But they don't have a lot of teams, so I mean, everybody has to play, right? I mean, you can't.
There was only 4. They ended up 5-6. Well, I guess if you count the playoffs, 6-6.
Right.
But they were 4-6 going in.
That's crazy. So, let's wrap up NBA just for a second, though. I don't know if you watched the Celtics Heat game. Did you guys watch that? Or at least see the end?
I'm just mad still about the Knicks.
I was eating steak. I couldn't see the TV, but I saw that the Celtics lost.
Yeah, so the Heat comes back and wins after being down 10, 12, whatever they at. And man, the Heat they're a team that's playing like a team. And I almost think in today's NBA, this might be an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Well, it goes
What a
down to
concept.
what happens in
Yeah.
college.
Right.
In college, when teams play together and are a team and pass the ball and play like a team, you win games. What do you
Right.
think? When not this season, but when the Warriors were really good, it's because they played team basketball.
Yeah.
They
They're
passed a lot.
passing a lot, right? Moving the ball around.
It,
And I think that's what Miami has going for them. And I don't think Boston does have that because Boston's like it's Tatum, it's Brown, or nothing.
And then the Miami's got the old school mentality. They've got
Right.
Jimmy
They play
Butler. They got
defense.
Udonis Haslam on the bench who's going to punch you if you get out of line.
Well, oh, and Bam, dude, Bam's his defense is stellar.
yeah, and he's healthy.
Yeah.
And you got Pat
That's kind of
Riley
a factor
around too.
Like, yeah, I mean Jimmy Butler. I was surprised because I was like his ankle. I mean, he looks pretty. He's pretty locked in, and so that's going to be a tough series.
I really
Boston's
thought
gonna be lucky to come out of that.
I thought the Celtics were going to win that series, but after watching the first game, I really think they're going to have a hard time. I still think they might win, but I don't think it's going to be easy.
No,
I think the Heat are going to give them all they want to
Jimmy
handle.
Butler's no joke.
Yeah.
He just shows up for the playoffs.
Yeah,
he shows out.
Opposite of Harden.
What? Who?
Opposite of Harden.
Because Harden is the reason they fired Doc Rivers because it was all Doc Rivers' fault, not that Harden disappears in the playoffs.
Right. Can't play.
Yeah, let's fire Doc. Every coach. Did you see the last 4 coach of the years got fired?
Right.
Nick Nurse, Busenheimer. All these guys get fired. Oh, they're bad coaches. They're coaches of the year.
Right.
Fire everybody else, dude. I'd fire Harden. Harden, you're fired.
Oh no, because
these guys.
Harden's going to get a new deal now.
Yeah. Well, Harden already expressed interest in going to Phoenix.
I wouldn't want him.
Can you imagine Harden going to Phoenix?
It's such a joke, dude. It's such a scam.
Holly asked that the other day. She's like, I don't remember there being super teams like this.
Well, no, there were, but they weren't. They were built like the Warriors pre-KD. Right. You know what I mean? It's like the Celtics. They drafted Bird, traded for McHale and Parrish.
Right.
The Lakers, I forgot that traded Gail Goodrich to the Jazz and ended up getting the number 1 overall pick, which was James Worthy. So then you had Kareem, Magic, and Worthy. The Bulls traded Olden Polynice, their draft pick, to move up to get Scottie Pippen. And, and then Rodman was a basket case and no one wanted him when the Bulls got him.
It's more about big free agent signings these days, it's really just you're gonna take this big hit in your luxury tax.
Yeah.
So you can sign, all these star players and hopefully win a championship and then just fall apart, and just be nothing later on. So NBA is not my favorite right now, but I do enjoy watching Denver play right now. I like the way they play. Jokic is dominating, dude. That guy's just killing it.
I am totally rooting for them to win the whole. I want Jokic to win the whole
thing. I
want them to dominate.
I hope Denver wins it. I think they have a really good chance.
Well, Jamal Murray is playing amazing too.
Yeah, I think he had 38, something like that tonight, right? So
and you wonder, it's he had a severe knee problem. He had a knee injury, and you're like, God, how do these guys recover like that? It's not like
everybody recovers.
Stem cell.
But still,
Stem cell.
These guys are playing basketball all the time. How is your knee like? Like it's pretty amazing that he's playing.
They're not eating pizza and drinking beer every day or whatever. They're out there they have trainers and they have nutritionists and
the advanced recovery and the medicines or what you want to call it, that they have these days. It's a lot different than you see guys come back from ACLs, after a year and a half. You never saw that before.
Then in the 80s, if you got a torn ACL, your career was over.
Done. Yeah, career's over, right? And people are coming back after a year, year and a half.
Sometimes less.
Right. So
remember, Adrian Peterson came back in less than a year.
Yeah, it's a different world. But basketball, still not my favorite. But this time of year, I like to watch basketball. It gets exciting near the finish. I really interested to see how the refs ref the game when they go back to LA.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting. I think that will be your is it rigged or is it not?
Well, I'll tell you this much. Maybe Jokic's brothers need to be courtside there and see if the refs
escort them out of the building.
It's still I still think the Lakers, it's a long shot for them to win anyways.
Right.
In any fashion.
I think they might
even if they beat Denver. If they beat Denver, they're probably the favorites to win. Because I don't think the Celtics are really that good right now.
I think it will be.
They're going to be lucky to beat the Heat. They're just not playing what. I think something's wrong with Brown.
I think Denver sweeps. To be honest with you, I think Denver sweeps.
That would be funny.
I think the Celtics Heat go to at least 6, maybe 7.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction. And I'm the only one that predicted Lakers to go.
Whatever, dude. If the Lakers win,
whatever.
If the Lakers win, I win $1,000. I bet on them like in the mid-season when they made those trades.
Nice.
I was like, okay, I'll take that $1,000 on $10 bet.
Look, Austin Reeves is like, he's playing like a star, and dude is like building for a good contract from somebody.
Yeah. You know what? You know what's happening?
The Lakers can't pay him.
You know what? The Blazers are like, we'll get Austin Reeves. Like, there's a lot of teams who are like, we'll take Austin. Like, we'll pay Austin Reeves.
Yeah, but you got to pay him $100 million.
Oh, jeez.
This dude's gonna get a 5-year, $100 million contract.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Like Duncan Robinson.
So funny.
Go to another team and he doesn't even play.
Right.
The only time I'm happy about the Lakers is when Austin Reeves does well. I'm like, that guy's awesome.
I like Austin Reeves.
I don't care about anybody else on the Lakers except Austin Reeves.
What was funny is Hachimura was talking trash about during the game. Like he did a sideline, like they heard him saying, "Oh, they got no one in the middle that can stop me. That's why I'm driving to the basket." And then after that, that's when Denver started to win. So maybe not trash to a team that's better than you.
No, absolutely. The Lakers have no business talking.
Well, and Walker is not playing like he was playing earlier in the playoffs. It's like they're not deep is the problem. Lakers are not deep. If the only way they win is if Davis has stellar games. Like LeBron's going to get his
win with him having stellar games.
Yeah. Though. Right. Well, because Jokic is ridiculous, dude. Like, how do you win when a guy's getting 40 and 20 and 15?
There's only what I thought about tonight. I thought the Lakers might win tonight.
But both games are close. They're both close.
Because you're putting a lot, even on Jokic. Jokic's
playing all the minutes.
And you saw in game 1, like in the fourth quarter, he's like, oh shoot. It's like, man, I might still play. Like,
Right.
You just saw it. He's like, he is
Well,
not.
because
This
they're
is not a
close
dude
games.
that's going to win like a decathlon.
They're close games, dude, all the way down to the end. He has to be in the game.
Yes, there's no other.
Yeah, it's
there's
tough.
no other option. But do you see some of his passes? They were showing like highlights. He was like Peyton Manning on the basketball court. I'm like, you kidding me?
But
You're
dude
a
gets
center.
10, 15 assists a game, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some movies. One of my favorite topics. So this was one of our hardest topics tonight, because it's so hard to eliminate this. So we're talking about best actors and actresses overall, no time frame, top 5 actors and actresses.
I mean, top 5.
Top 5 best actors and actresses of all time.
I would just go top 2. just cut out the middleman. Like, okay. Well,
And,
wait a minute. Hold on.
I gotta rank my 5 here actually really quick, but so let's start at 5. So if you have to say number 5, and Wes, we'll give you a pass just to chime in with what your thoughts are, because I know you haven't studied it yet, because I know Derek and I spent some time on this. Derek, what's your number 5?
This is a tough one, but I'm going with, and it's mostly recency bias because I can't, it's so hard. I haven't seen more than maybe 2 or 3 movies from a lot of older actors.
Right. Like Cary Grant and guys like that, right?
So, yeah. So I'm going with one who he seems to always play roles really well and is a great actor and has won how many Oscars has he won? I think he might have won. I know he's won at least one. But I'm going with Denzel Washington.
Wow. Number 5, Denzel. And some great movies.
Yeah, I mean,
what's your favorite Denzel movie?
It's gonna sound, I'm gonna go Glory.
Oh, I love Glory. Love. Dude, I think that's one of the better movies ever. I love Glory. I like that. Denzel is definitely in my top 5.
No, he's got 2 Oscars.
So who I have at top 5 or number 5 is Tom Cruise. This dude's done so many movies. I don't know necessarily that he's the best actor. He's a good actor, but he's done so many good movies. If you just look at like who's been in more really good movies than anybody else, like it's hard to go against Tom Cruise, right?
The last 30 years. Let's
Right.
just say the last 30 years.
But he also has a downfall to where I don't think he's the best like actual actor, right? But he's been in so many good movies. He's played some good roles, but because he's been in so many movies that have been successful, and I have liked him, I mean, Top Gun, Days of Thunder, you look at those type of movies and you love them, right? But you got Mission Impossible, and but movies like Far and Away, even though he didn't act great in that in Far and Away, it was a great movie, right? And so if you talk about like the amount of good movies, he could be higher if he was a little bit better of an actor. So I got Tom Cruise at 5. So Wes, I know you don't got a lot of research in here, but do you have a
Dude,
number 5?
This is hard. You guys
dude, you have no idea, dude. It's the hardest topic. It's the hardest topic. One of the hardest topics we've ever talked about.
This is the hardest, and I got to go with Morgan Freeman at 5.
Oh man, the ultimate best supporting actor.
Oh yeah, I mean, just like that. I mean, he's played. I mean, even the movie Seven.
Right. So 7. But he's been in one of the best movies ever, which is Shawshank, right?
Yeah, that's what I was
And
gonna
he
say.
was not necessarily supporting there. I think that was a very equal role with Robbins in that.
Yeah.
But it's hard to take a guy who's been in one of the best movies ever, probably top 5 movies ever, right? But a lot of his other movies, he does play a lot of secondary roles.
Yeah.
Driving Miss
So
Daisy.
yeah, I think that's a great pick. He was on my list, so I could definitely agree with that. So I'm gonna go. So I'll start with 4 here. This was a hard one for me, but my 4 is Harrison Ford.
Oh.
Dude, and when you think about Star Wars, when you think about Indiana Jones, but then you get other movies, like Fugitive and those type of movies. He's just been a solid actor for a long time, but he has those like star movies, where it's like in Star Wars, yeah, you got Luke, you got Leia, you got all these other things, but Harrison Ford makes the movie, right?
Dude, he makes Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Oh,
And Indiana Jones, obviously, he is the star, right? But then he's got all these other movies that you go through, and so I love Harrison Ford, and
Wait a minute. Is he doing our Indiana Jones movie?
he is doing another Indiana Jones movie.
I mean, what is he, 100?
I can't wait to see
Like,
it.
I saw the previews.
That's the thing.
Look, really? You're jumping out of
when
a
you
plane?
when you can't wait to see his movie, like you got to put him in there. That's why he got into my top 5. And I was comparing him against people. To be honest with you, Sean Connery, Paul Newman.
Oh, dude, it's hard.
And can you imagine trying to pick between Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, and Paul Newman, dude? It was so hard.
The reason is there's 3 of us, and we might all have a different top 5, and it's all legit.
Right.
Anything that we pick, because it's that hard.
It is.
We can make an argument for anybody's top 5.
Right.
Because
right.
all these guys are legit. We're not even talking about the old school guys so much.
Oh, dude, trust me, I had a lot.
Jimmy
Stewart.
Is anyone put Jimmy Stewart in their top 5?
Jimmy Stewart is literally in the best movie ever, which is
he's in multiple best movies ever. Vertigo.
No. Come on. Tell me you don't know what the best movie ever
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Come on.
But Vertigo?
No. And what's the one where he plays in the court one?
No, dude. I already know who my number 4 is. This is ridiculous.
I'll find that one.
Stop all this now.
Okay. So what's your 4, Wes?
John Wayne, man.
Oh yeah.
John Wayne.
The Duke.
Gets no respect anywhere. Like how many? I watch the
most movies ever, right? Like who's
everyone tells me not to watch the Oscars every year, but I do it. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. No respect for John Wayne, man.
Right.
How many great movies? My favorite John Wayne movie is The Searchers. Tell me that's not a great movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, but
and everyone's like, well, he just plays himself. So he's freaking cool. Of course he plays. Like Bruce Willis.
How good? Look, dude, how good of an actor are you when you can just play yourself? Like that's legit.
Wasn't it like Ryan Reynolds plays the same? He's Deadpool in every movie, pretty much.
So that's the only issue I have with John Wayne is if you're not military, it's not Western. Like there's a few outside of that, but the most part, he's just military and Western, right? So yeah, he's made, 1 million movies. But they're very close, And then name one time John Wayne's been the protagonist.
Never.
Right, because he's always the hero. He's John Wayne,
He's John Wayne.
Wait, didn't he play Genghis Khan?
How many people?
He played Genghis Khan.
Yeah, he did.
Wait a minute, hold on. What? Only Derek knows this.
John
Right.
Wayne played
What do you mean
Genghis
he
Khan.
played Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this. What?
Well, don't think for a second that John Wayne wasn't on the list, right? Of course he was on the list.
Yeah, the
But you
movie was
gotta,
called The Conqueror, where John Wayne played a
Oh, geez.
Mongolian,
yeah,
and he played,
the dude's been in 10 million movies.
and that's the one that I think he got cancer was from
Yeah.
filming that movie. A lot of people from that movie died from cancer.
What?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Wes. This is your number 4.
All right. Well, Derek, what's your number 4?
So what I did with my criteria though is I wanted, because there's so many great actors, like Daniel Day-Lewis, such a great actor, but I never see him in comedies, right? I needed people that had range. I need people that can do comedy and can do drama. So my number 4 is Robin Williams. I mean, Good Morning Vietnam, Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Will Hunting, 1 Hour Photo, Fisher King. He can play it all. He can do the wacky comedy. He can do the tragic comedy. He can do the creepy serial killer. He can play, he could play any role.
Yeah.
So that's why I got Robin Williams at my 4.
True.
And he played an alien.
Dude, I know. I loved him in Insomnia. I think he did it when you're talking about that versatility. That it was hard. But the problem I think with Rob Williams, and again, I don't think we could pick anybody, right? Obviously, he still could be top 5. Is he didn't have as many blockbusters as you'd like to see people have. But also, he's a very, very good actor, like really good. And so that's a tough one too. Definitely on the list.
Blockbuster, we could go Aladdin. I mean, that made so much money, right?
Right. I mean, some good. So here's the problem: everybody we pick's gonna be great, right? And everybody that we're gonna name, if he's on my list or not on my list, I took him off the list at some point, right?
Yeah,
That's what makes this exercise so fun, I think, because we get to hear these things. Because honestly, Robin Williams is not on my list, but he was. I had to remove him for somebody else, and it was such a hard thing to do when you think about that.
Yeah.
And it was fun to do. I actually enjoyed it. Because here, I mean, so we get into the top 3. There's a lot of, I think, personal bias that comes into that. Because again, all these guys, like Robin Williams, it could be top 3. And so this is where it gets really tough. And there's some people that I took off that, like, you guys aren't going to like. And I'll just tell you one that I took off was Al Pacino.
Yeah.
So I took Pacino off my top 5 list. But when I think about like all that Pacino's done, it's like, how did I remove him?
I think it's because of Pacino's last 10 or so years. He's kind of done a bunch of movies
I don't
where
necessarily disagree with that, because it's hard for me to put him in the top 5 just because of the guys that we're going to talk about here.
Right.
Because there's just, it also is going outside yourself as
so.
And Al Pacino made a lot of money being Al Pacino.
Right.
And
but
that's
like,
not
come
my
on.
favorite movie.
I mean,
good.
No, there's so many good.
Not.
Like, obviously, he's in Godfather. He's in Godfather 2, and movies like Heat and things like that. Son of a Woman,
Justice for All, Dog Day Afternoon.
Dog Day Afternoon. God, I mean, you could go on and on, right? But I'm gonna tell you my number 3, and it's not a guy. And even though she is typecast quite a bit, it's Julia Roberts, because she's another one of those, or she's one of those actresses that's been in so many good movies. When you watch, I would venture to say that if you watched all of her movies, you would say 75% of them are good. She has a very low percentage of movies you're like, oh, that was horrible. You know, and yeah, you got to be a little open-minded. Obviously, you can't be an action junkie or some of the things from the other people are talking about. But when you think of movies like Aaron Brockovich, from that to Pretty Woman, I also really love Conspiracy Theory. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, with her. And I think she's just done a really good job over her career, playing not only secondary roles but primary roles. Notting Hill, being in movies like that. And so I love the fact that she's willing to take a primary role or a secondary role, but she's always does a really good job in there. So I have her at number 3.
My number 3 is one of Wes's favorite actors. I'm going De Niro at 3. I mean,
Yeah,
it's hard to argue De Niro. I will say that one of my favorite movies is, and now I can't even think of it, but why can't I think? Midnight Run.
Oh yeah, Midnight
One
Run.
One of my favorite movies. Midnight Run.
Yeah, but I mean,
I thought you were gonna say Deer Hunter.
No.
Deer Hunter, dude. Raging Bull.
Raging Bull, dude. Raging Bull,
dude. Godfather 1 and 2.
Viewing in school.
He wasn't in 1.
Child should watch Raging Bull.
He was in 1. I think he's in 1.
No, he's just in 2.
Just in 2.
Dude.
The king of comedy. I mean, there's Once Upon a Time in America is a great 4.5 hour long movie.
That's a hard movie to watch.
The other thing that makes it hard for De Niro, which made it hard for me, was because then he goes and he plays in a movie like Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
And then you're like, look at the range that this dude has.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you go from Taxi Driver to Meet the Fockers. Like, imagine if you showed that to someone. You're like, here's De Niro and Taxi Driver. Here's De Niro and Meet the Fockers.
Well, I was going to say Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver is, talk about a hard movie to watch, but just the acting, just to play that character, he's lucky to be alive. I mean, just to go into that psychosis as that dude, Travis Bickle, like,
became a hero, Travis Bickle.
Oh, dude.
Well, okay. Well, Wes, can you pick a number 3?
Yeah, I can, but it's hard. I'm gonna pick DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio. So here, dude.
I want to hear your argument for this, because
before it's all said and done,
Holly and I had a big argument about Leo, which I was arguing for him and she was arguing against him.
What?
So I want to hear. Yeah, I want to hear your argument for Leo.
Okay, let's skip Titanic because that's just.
I actually love Titanic, but that's okay.
No, because everybody wants to, and people talk about Titanic. He was great in Titanic,
right?
But let's go to Basketball Diaries.
Yeah.
Let's go to Quick and the Dead, man.
Oh,
he was really good in that movie.
That's a good one. That's
legit.
A good one.
The Aviator.
What's the name for Grape?
Yes. Because Catch Me If You Can is one of my favorites.
Catch Me If You Can is really good.
Right.
Just you go down the line but he's number 3 right now. But before it's all said and done, he's going to be the greatest actor of all time.
Leo. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So what else? Give me a couple. Departed. What
Blood
else?
Diamond. I mean,
Blood Diamond. That's a good call out too.
The Wolf of Wall
But
Street.
what else?
The
Oh,
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah,
He should have
that's
won
good.
Best Actor hands down.
That is really good.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
But Brad kind of stole that one though.
He kind of made the movie.
But here, okay.
Still.
For me with Leo, and I know it's in his younger days, but what always irked me about Leo
is growing pains.
American Psycho.
Yes, that's it. He turned down the role of Patrick Bateman in American Psycho because he didn't want to mess with his heartthrob image. American Psycho is an amazing movie.
They might do a remake, and DiCaprio might.
But maybe he's just looking out for his image. It's probably came from his business manager.
I'll only date like 24-year-olds. That's his image now.
Oh, but you know what? Right. I'm glad because Christian Bale just was amazing in that role.
Oh yeah,
Christian Bale. To be honest with you,
I'm like, holy crap! How did this role?
Obviously, I only got 2 left, and Christian Bale's not on the list, but he was so hard to not be on the list because I love Christian Bale. I think he's great. But there's so many good people, right?
Right.
But it's also you also don't have the choices that these guys have. Like Christian Bale's never had the choices that like DiCaprio can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Christian Bale can't.
Well, no,
Bale can now.
Here's the difference between Christian Bale and DiCaprio, though. Christian Bale can morph to any role.
Oh yeah,
that guy will turn into whatever you want him to be. You want him to be a 250-pound, office dude, sales guy, he'll do it. You want him to be a 130-pound mechanic, like the machinist,
Batman?
Like, dude, he'll do it.
You want him to be Batman?
Be Batman,
play the fighter. The Fighter is one of my favorite movies.
Or what was that one? The Magician one. That was really good too. With
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, that was
Scarlett Johansson.
It's a good one too.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and so
because it's a Christopher. See, here's the thing: is DiCaprio hitched his wagon to Scorsese, and Bale hitched his wagon to Christopher Nolan.
Right. Which I think you're a good equally there, right? Oh, Goodfellas. That's what I was thinking De Niro was in.
Oh.
Yeah. But equally, I think they both made out well, right? At the end of the day, when you think about that, because Christopher Nolan is awesome.
Well, DiCaprio had Inception.
Right.
Christopher Nolan.
Inception's good. I also like DiCaprio in dude, the movie.
Just don't say the beach.
I can't think of it right now. No. The one. It's the
beach. It was all right. It wasn't bad.
It's the one based on the book, dude, where he plays the dude that has the money, and I'll think of it.
Well, Wes already said it. The Aviator.
No. I'll think of it. So let's go
number 2.
Let's go number 2, and so let's make Wes lead here.
Oh no!
So Wes, we're gonna make you lead.
This is really
Gatsby.
Oh, well.
Great Gatsby.
Horrible movie.
That was out. Well, that's
that's not his fault. That's what I'm saying. I thought
it's his fault because that's his second Baz Luhrmann movie, and they both sucked. Baz Luhrmann is horrible.
I think he did a good job himself, though. The movie was not great. I actually believe that Leo played Gatsby okay.
Yeah, because I like the Robert Redford version better.
Oh yeah. How can you not like Robert Redford, dude? Robert Redford was a hard one to take off the list. So was Paul Newman, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's that the problem is that we've gotten so much exposure to the 80s and the 90s, 2000, early 2000s
Yeah.
movies, right? And then even though I've seen a lot of those movies, I've probably seen them once, maybe twice, where I've seen some of the 80s movies 5, 10 times.
Right. Well, even some of the late 70s movies too.
Right.
We've seen a bunch.
But still, like, there's some of those. I mean, Paul Newman and Color Money, dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that.
And The Hustler.
And The Hustler.
You know what's funny is like how many like people that are like even in their 20s, like what are these guys talking about?
Right.
Like they have never seen Color
I was
Money.
trying to like get Holly's help, because it was a hard one. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? She's like, I've never seen that movie. I've never seen that movie. I'm like, have you seen any movies?
Well, here's a story for you. One of my wife's Caitlin's colleagues, her grandmother was married to Burt Lancaster.
Wow.
And Caitlin was like, so who Burt Lancaster?
She's like, what?
She's like, I've heard the name, but I don't know what he's from. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Burt Lancaster.
Like, what planet are you from?
I could kind of understand that, but
yeah,
it's Burt Lancaster.
Right. It's not like Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah. Oh geez. Well, are we going number 2s here?
Yep.
I gotta go with Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Nice.
At number 2. Silence of the Lambs. I gotta go old school Anthony Hopkins. Even Dracula. He makes Dracula. He is so awesome in Dracula. I've seen Dracula like 20 times because of it.
Give me 3 more movies.
What are you talking about? Give you 3 more movies? Give The Father. That's a great movie, dude.
So, I mean, Silence of the Lambs, right?
Thor.
So
Thor's legit, dude.
And Thor 2 and Thor 3.
Westworld.
Don't think I didn't have Anthony Hopkins on the list, right? Of course I did.
Yeah.
The problem I ran into him.
Legends of the Fall.
Or Legends of the Fall. Of course, Brad Pitt was in that movie too, right?
Well, he's not in the top 5 though.
Just this little guy named Brad Pitt. That was the only issue I ran into with him, which I love Anthony Hopkins, and nobody plays Hannibal Lecter better. But that was the problem. That was the issue I ran into him was
the best movie he played in was Nixon.
Oh yeah.
Nixon. He played the
right.
I mean, Derek, come on. Did he play a good Nixon? He was pretty darn good. And that was a hard role to play. He just goes outside of himself. It's like you think he just he's a one-trick guy, but he's got range.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can't argue any of them. So I love to hear here's why I think it, right? We're gonna make your case. So I like it. All right, Derek.
My number 2 had won 4 Oscars and was nominated for 8 more. My number 2 is Katharine Hepburn.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Deserving.
For actresses, she is the cream of the crop.
Right.
Yes. She is. One's gonna. She's like Meryl Streep is the only one that can catch her.
I had an ageist bias on this with her. That's because obviously you cannot have Katharine Hepburn on the list.
I mean, just think about it. 12 movies were she'd been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, but they made like 12 movies all year. I mean, so there's that's the problem I run into because there was a
Well,
height
I mean,
for me. There was a height of movies, right? What was it like mid 70s to like mid 90s, right? That
Yep.
was
1981, Katharine Hepburn wins an
right.
Oscar for On Golden Pond.
Yeah.
So it's not like she was just like
Yep.
dusting away.
Yeah. She did have a lot of range too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
they didn't have biased voting back then where they didn't want to not vote for the same person over and over again. They're
but
just like,
the
let's
one
just give
thing
it
I'll
to
say about
Catherine.
Katharine Hepburn, and this is another reason why I took Anthony Hopkins, is because one of his first movies, American movies, was The Lion in the Winter.
Right.
And that is
Oh, that was really
one of
good.
the best acted movies ever. And probably no one even knows what I'm talking about.
But
everybody should watch that movie.
I watched
And she
Katharine
won an
Hepburn
Academy Award
movies.
for that movie.
Yep.
I watched Katharine Hepburn movies my whole childhood because I grew up with, a mom who only wanted to watch, those movies. So if it was made, after 1975, like I didn't watch it.
Well, that's part of the problem too. Is a lot of guys fall on the list because of the age.
Right.
Like we're not even talking about Clark Gable. Clark Gable is legit.
Cary Grant, dude. Come on, dude.
Cary Grant.
Well, one that I left off my list was Henry Fonda.
Oh, Henry Fonda, dude. Judy
West.
Garland. I mean, there's so many. And Jimmy Stewart, dude. Like Jimmy Stewart. If you look at the movies Jimmy Stewart was doing back then,
yeah.
I mean, there were so many good movies.
But
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That's what it was.
Oh, dude.
Well, if I'm going to talk courtroom movies, though, you got to go 12 Angry Men.
No, dude. Few Good Men.
No, 12
Few Good Men. No. That's
Few
where
Good
Tom
Men. Come on.
That's where Tom Cruise's career went. Is The Few Good Men.
That's great for Tom Cruise. Well, 12 Angry Men had 12 great acting performances.
Well, yeah. I mean, but again, the sad part is...
And then we know A Few Good Men wasn't Tom Cruise. It was Jack Nicholson.
It was Jack.
No, it was
Jack Nicholson was great.
Tom Cruise was good, too.
But
Tom Cruise is good at being himself.
Here, I'll throw a courtroom movie at you, which an actor that does a good job, he has a great career, and could be on the list if there wasn't so many great actors, was Rainmaker.
I thought you were going to say Rainmaker.
Dude, I love that
That's
movie.
a great movie.
It's so good. And
dude,
I think
Matt Damon
it's Matt one of Damon his it might be his best movie. Dude. It might be his best movie.
Wow. That's a tough.
It's really good.
It is, dude. It's so good. And
better than
courtroom movies, I'll throw that out there. Good Will Hunting, it's just so nostalgic, I guess. Is that lack of a better term.
Well, in that one though, it's because Robin Williams kind of
makes the movie. Yeah. Makes the movie. And you don't have that in The Rainmaker, dude. Like it's just Matt Damon like killing it.
I didn't do that. So,
what is this? Damon though, like if you say he holds his own with one of Wes's greatest actors, Leo, in The Departed.
Right. Oh yeah, Departed. Oh, dude. The problem with Departed is you got Leo, you got Matt Damon, you got
Nicholson.
What's his name? But you also got
Martin Sheen and Mark Wahlberg.
Wahlberg, right. There's just so many people in that movie. So wait, we're on 2, right?
You're number 2.
So Wes, you both did your number 2. So my number 2 is Tom Hanks. So when you look at Tom Hanks's career, there's nobody that's done that many good movies. His range isn't, because he's never really played outside, you're not going to see Tom Hanks like slicing someone up with a machete or something, But Forrest Gump obviously is one of the best movies ever. But then you got Saving Private Ryan. He does a movie like that, but then you go all the way back to like Splash, and then Big and the
Bachelor Party.
Yeah, dude. The thing when you look at Tom Hanks' career, And if you just watch Tom Hanks movies for the next month, you'd be satisfied, right? You could watch a different Tom Hanks movie for the next 30 days, and you'd be like, that was a good 30 days of watching movies.
Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah, dude,
Oh, Joe
it's
versus Volcano.
endless, dude. It's so endless. Like even look, I'll watch You Got Mail, and be like, good Tom Hanks movie. You and Meg Ryan. Maybe it's the same as Sleepless in Seattle, but whatever, you know. You can just seriously watch a Tom Hanks movie every day for like a month and be satisfied. And so I love Tom Hanks for that reason. Philadelphia, you just keep naming him over and over again. And it's really hard to not have him, up there.
Yeah.
So I got Hanks up there. All right, number one, Derek.
Tom Hanks. And I will tell you why. He does have the range. Cloud Atlas, he played a killer.
Yeah.
Road to Perdition, he plays a hitman.
Oh, I love Road to Perdition. Such a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, how many movies we talk about morphine. How many real life people has he portrayed and has knocked it out of the park?
Right.
Like him as blanking one of the greatest people of all time. Him as Mr. Rogers, dude, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Castaway,
when you go
big.
Oh, Castaway, dude, so good in Castaway.
And that's he was quintessential. He did like Dragnet, which
yeah. Love the
Dragnet and Bachelor Party. Awesome. The like what was it? The One Red Shoe one. I forgot what that was called. Bosom Buddies. He did all those. If you just watch the first half of Tom Hanks' career, and then you go, oh, and then he goes and plays a guy who's dying from AIDS.
Blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster, dude. You can't put out more blockbusters than Tom Hanks.
And it's not just blockbuster, it was good movies that were well acted. He wasn't doing like, Star Wars or something. It was just like iconic movies.
Right. Yeah. So Tom Hanks is obviously up there for my list. What do you got at number one, Wes?
Pacino.
Oh, he's going with Pacino.
Go Pacino, man. And it's hard, but there's that sweet spot.
Dude, from like Scarface.
1972 to all the way to Scarface. There's just too many movies. I mean, The Godfather. Nobody can play Godfather Part 2 better than Al Pacino. You can't even imitate. Everybody can imitate Marlon Brando. You cannot be as cold-blooded as Al Pacino in Godfather Part 2.
Right.
And then you go from that.
Dude, Son of a Woman, Dog Day Afternoon, Son of a Woman, dude.
Serpico. And then you go to Scarface. And, I mean, yeah. And just that right there is like, and even there's movies like Carlito's Way. I love him in Carlito. That's a badass movie. I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to hear some 20-something dudes talking about the new Carlito.
You have to be an Al Pacino fan, though, right? You have to love Al Pacino, and that's what makes that movie really good.
But he
makes that movie good.
That is the most disrespected movie in Academy Award history. Is Heat? He should have been nominated.
Right?
No, he shouldn't have won. I get it, but dude, that was a great.
Oh, I could pick him out for that.
He's got a great ass.
Your head's all the way up in it. The reason I love Pacino, but Pacino, it's hard for Pacino in Heat because you got De Niro and Kilmer,
Wow.
And so that's
De Niro's playing himself. I mean, Kilmer, but he carried that movie. He really did.
Yeah.
I mean, De Niro's great, but
There's one I know is not a top 5, but Kilmer deserves a lot of respect for some of
yeah.
the movies he did.
I mean, he's had a ton.
Like The Doors, the way he
Yeah.
played Jim
Oh,
Morrison.
dude. Yeah,
that's a
dude.
hardcore movie.
I think Kilmer, he gets into his parts more than anybody.
Yeah.
Or as much as anybody that you would see, in Hollywood for a long, long time.
He's like basically that's what Christian Bale is now.
Look, dude. Like I had to pull Kurt Russell off the list, right? Like, how do you pull Kurt Russell? Dude, how do you pull Sean Connery, like James Bond, off the list? I mean, so
it's because of A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You pull Sean Connery off the list.
Which we're going to talk about here in a second, dude. How do you pull Bruce Willis off the list?
Yeah,
his last 15 years of
that's tough.
But dude, it don't matter. Like when you have, dude. We'll talk about this here in a minute, but dude, how many good movies does that guy have? And then how do you not even think about guys like Kevin Costner, Mel Gibson? They're not even on the list.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah. Oh,
Michael Caine.
You picked a pretty hard topic. It's almost not fair.
Right. So it was good. So here's my number one. He has been mentioned already, and it's Denzel Washington. Because I love his range. I love the way that he portrays his role. If you give him a role, he does it, right? He's the kind of guy that he morphs to what you need him to do every time, and he plays it almost to perfection. I have rarely seen a Denzel movie where I didn't believe that he was the person that he was playing. And it's so different all the time. And there's so many movies that go back and forth, but like you already mentioned, Glory is one of my favorite movies. Love Glory. And then Remember the Titans is one of my favorite movies. But then you go to like different movies like Ricochet or what's the one where he plays like the time traveling?
I mean,
where like he's going back in time, back and forth in his head or whatever, dude, to solve the crime. The thing about him is he encapsulates his role so well.
And then you got Malcolm X and Mo Better.
Malcolm X, yeah, dude. Malcolm X is one of my favorite movies too.
Here's a one with a young Russell Crowe, Virtuosity.
Yeah,
movie.
Yep. So I don't. It's a personal preference. I honestly probably like if you're talking about data wise, I probably put Tom Hanks ahead of him, but I put Tom Hanks at second because it's a personal preference for Denzel's one. So, dude, such a hard topic, and dude, I love this topic because it's a good thought exercise, dude. And you start thinking about this, like Wes, if you had actually like broke down it, like you'd spent like hours thinking about this.
I think too much. I would have imploded.
But even though we didn't have Bruce Willis on there, let's wrap up with some great Bruce Willis movies. I do love Bruce Willis, and it's sad to see his stage, that he's coming to.
Yeah.
But we'll pay some respect to Bruce Willis. So let's talk about top 5 Bruce Willis movies. I'll start with number 5, Hearts War. I love Hearts War. He just does a great job in there, and I love the story. I'm a World War II buff, and I think Hearts War is great. For people who haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. Even though I think there might be better movies that he's done. I put Hearts War above it because I think it's such a good movie.
It is a good movie. My 5th is an ensemble one, but he has such an integral part in the movie, and that's Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah.
Like he has.
I mean,
his
you gotta
own
love Pulp
story.
Fiction.
Yeah.
Problem is, you got Travolta, you got Jackson.
I know.
You know,
But he's still got. They're like, who's Zed? And he's like, Zed's dead, baby.
It's dead. And I love Pulp Fiction, man. It's so good. Wes, what do you got for a Bruce Willis movie? Think of one?
What, top 5?
Yeah.
I mean, The Last Boy Scout.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Come on, man. The Last Boy Scout. Everyone like, I want to beat up people that Hollywood, like people that rate that movie really bad. It's actually a decent movie, but he's awesome in the movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
You know who wrote that movie?
I forgot.
Shane Black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Writer of Lethal Weapon.
Right. Yeah.
Help from Predator. Yeah.
He's awesome in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, I have Last Boy Scout at number 4. So that was my number 4. I do. I love the movie. I also think, what's his name? Damon Wayans
Yeah, he was good.
kills it, right? And I think it's a very good combo. I
Halle
think Bruce
Berry's in it
Willis
for a second.
Oh yeah, for a second.
Holly Berry, yeah, that's funny.
I thought it was a little bit different for him, even though he was doing a lot of different things back then. I thought it was a good role for him, and it's one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies. I got that at 4.
So we're doing top 5.
Yeah, top 5 Bruce Willis.
I'll do number 4.
All right, what do you got?
Live Free or Die Hard.
Oh,
He's really good.
Dude, I
very
love that
underrated.
movie. Yeah,
That
so here's
movie's
the problem.
very underrated.
I kind of put them all together.
I did. I did the same thing. But I love that movie. Yeah. I love 4, dude. I love 4. 4 is good.
You think
but
it's
1, 2, 3 is good. Like 1, 2, 3 is good. What 1, 2, 3 is good. Like, I mean,
yeah.
How many
2? I mean, even 2 itself is good. It's legit. I remember watching that as a kid, going to theater, watching 2. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
The problem with 2 is like, after you watch it, you lose some of the suspense of it. But the first time you watch 2, you're like, this is the most legit.
Because we're like 8 when we watched it.
Dude, if you only got to watch them one time, right? If you only got to watch each movie one time, 2 would be the best because it has that big twist. And my
parents were like, you shouldn't watch that. No, that's got, it's too violent. I'm like, whatever. You guys swear all the time.
Well, that didn't happen for me. My dad had me watch Lethal Weapon when I was
right.
Like,
yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, we were watching like Friday the 13th, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard. It was like, but 4 is great. I did the same as Derek because I tied them all together. What do you got it for, Derek?
I got The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, give it to us. Like, why The Sixth Sense?
You got the big, huge twist. I mean, that's the one. If you've never seen a movie and you watch just one, mind blown. And he's just, it's one of his quintessential movies. I think, he's very cold in it, and he's very dry. But
I actually really loved his acting in that one. I thought he acted really well. Yeah. And you're right, when you talk about like that's the twist part of that one. Because now when we think about it, when you look back, we're all like, oh yeah, but there's a twist. But the first time we watched that, everybody was like, oh my God.
Yeah. It was before really you could get spoiled from the internet too.
Right. Yeah, there was, because this was what, remember that was like what, 99,
Yeah, I think
2000?
so. Yeah.
Yeah. We watched that in the theater. Like we went as a group, like a whole work group, and there's like 20 of us went and watched it in the theater. And at the end, we're like, "Oh my god! Like, what just happened?" Uh, so I have Sixth Sense at my number three, for the same reasons that you do, because it has an equal twist to Die Hard 2, probably more of a twist, with a lot better acting, with more actual plot and story. They really try to build that in. I also think the kid does a really good job in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He plays a great part.
Yeah, Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, yeah, he really did well. So I got the Sixth Sense at three. So Wes, put you on the spot. Give us a three. You
12
only got
monkeys.
like 20 to
12
choose from.
monkeys.
Yeah. Oh, 12
We go
monkeys.
with
So good.
12 monkeys.
So good.
I mean, it's just such a bizarre movie. And
Dude, it
actually
is.
it's actually really creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, because like and less is more with him. It's like he his facial you don't have to really talk to act. And that's the whole thing about him in that movie. He just it was a really great performance from him. Brad Pitt's
He's
great in it too.
that was the issue I had with 12 Monkeys, was like that it's kind of like that two-star effect, you know?
Yeah.
But I love that movie, and I think that easily is right up there.
That was
And
my number six.
Bruce Willis, yeah, I think I had him at seven. Bruce Willis is the kind of actor that can act
Yeah.
with what you're talking about, like facial expressions, and you know, uh, he does a lot of physical movements, that makes him a really good actor.
Yeah.
But 12 Monkeys is right there. Derek, what do you got?
Well, although my last threes are all sentimental, and this one, it's just because it's his first movie, and it takes me back to comedy and just like how wacky and crazy this movie was, and that was Blind Date.
Blind Date. Yeah, I didn't want to say it ahead of you, but I already knew what you were saying. God, I love that movie.
Him, Basinger, and John Larroquette.
Yeah.
You know,
For me, that movie's like Hudson Hawk.
mm-hmm.
Those to me are very similar in the way they're different movies, but it's the same style. It's the same, feeling for me when I watch those two movies.
Yeah, Hudson Hawk was my number 8.
Yeah.
Even though they say it's one of the worst movies, that movie is
Dude,
great.
I love Hudson Hawk. Oh, I had Blind Date at like 8 or 9. It was up there.
I just wanted to put in something that was more like a wacky comedy type thing and show his range. So that's why I had Blind Date. I just really enjoyed the movie.
I don't think a lot of people understand Bruce Willis's range because they always think of Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. But think about it, Blind Date, Moonlighting. That's where he got us.
Moonlighting, yeah, absolutely, dude. Moonlighting was great, dude. I loved Moonlighting when I was a kid. Loved watching that.
Yeah.
I got the DVDs.
I got it on Plex.
Yeah.
So let's go to number 2. This will be a surprise for you guys, maybe not. But this is where I wrapped in Die Hard as a series. Because obviously Die Hard is iconic. I love Die Hard. I love maybe 5, I could go with or without. But 1, 2, 3, 4 are just all good. And the whole Die Hard series, I have a hard time picking my favorite out of all of them. one, obviously, because I saw it first, but then like two came around, and you're like, oh, super good, this is awesome. And then three, Samuel Jackson comes in, and then four, it's like this whole new part of him. But the whole Die Hard series to me, I'm gonna wrap that up into number two because I don't know that it gets much better than that. So that's what I got it to. All right, Derek, what do you got?
This is undoubtedly one of my favorite movies of all time. In the summer of 2001, I think I watched it every day down at the beach. It was on TV for like 2 months straight, and that would be Unbreakable.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that
God,
was annoying too.
I love Unbreakable. That was my six.
Yeah.
That was a hard one to leave out. But tell us why. Like, what makes Unbreakable number
Well,
two?
just like the whole story of like how not knowing, and then like his like faking an injury and faking stuff so he could be with his wife. Of course, they ruined it with the third movie.
Right.
But
But the initial story, like how that starts and like the first, I don't know, 30 minutes of that movie,
yeah,
it
like
doesn't get much
surviving
better
a
than that.
train crash and what's going
Yeah.
on. And
Yeah.
And when we talk best movie, especially like the Bruce Willis's, and I kind of put this to John Wayne too. It's a lot of it does have to do with everybody like building the story and everything around him. But that story was built for Bruce Willis. It was
Yeah.
like that's my number two also. It's just that good. And it's less is
Yeah.
more. It's
So that's the only problem I have with that movie is I feel like you could do that movie in an hour. That if you could condense that movie, like the bulk of the story happens really quick to really
well, the whole part of the story is that he could do all this stuff, but he never had the self confidence to ever
right.
do it. So, like
Mm,
the whole scene where he's lifting weights and he could go over how much ever weight he was lifting. He never tried though, because
right.
he didn't think he could. He never tried, so he didn't do it. And then you learn, oh man, this guy could lift like 400 pounds. And he never knew
Yeah.
it because he never tried it because he never had the self confidence to do it.
Right. But I feel like I already knew he could. Well, that's the point of the story too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still a great movie. I don't know. I think I had Unbreakable at like nine. Like it was right there. Do love that movie a lot. And that was the problem with his movies is I had 20 on the list.
Yeah.
Like how do you break down 20 movies? Like
yeah.
that was impossible.
Well, that's
Uh
what you did to us today was impossible.
that was good stuff. Let's talk about the number one. Like this, I think this is going to be a different range because I always feel like number one comes down to personal preference.
Right. Well, you already know my number one because I haven't said it yet, and that's the Diehards. And
Yeah,
I do have a favorite, and it is the first one.
yeah, because it's probably the best movie ever.
It's probably the best
Like,
action movie ever.
right?
Yeah.
Well, at least the best action movie ever, right?
Like the writing, the dialogue was so good in that movie.
I
I
think the
mean,
casting was
oh
amazing.
gosh, yeah. Alan
You could,
Rickman's first American
yeah,
role.
but then the mercenaries, like you couldn't have cast
Mhm.
better, like the dude and his brother, like Han or not
Mhm.
Hans, but what was the other guy's name? The so there's the one brother who's like
Right,
the brutal brother, and there's one's like the tech brother. Like you
right.
couldn't have cast two better guys in that.
Reginald Bell Johnson,
Right, right. Oh yeah, and then you got him out, and then the other
Deborah
dude
White.
that plays the dude that was in Breakfast Club that plays the
Oh
deputy
yes,
chief
Brendan
or whatever.
Gleeson.
Yeah, Gleason. And
He's so good.
you could not cast a better guy to come in and look like the idiot, you know, to tell
There's
Yeah.
you
glass everywhere.
right.
Scoop
Glass.
the glass.
Like
Oh, I mean,
so the
I guess we're
casting
gonna
there,
need some new FBI guys.
right?
yeah,
The casting in that movie was amazing.
it is. It was.
Which makes it even as good as the plot and the story and Bruce Willis and all that. Which
Well, and then we didn't even talk about who else could you think of was played the greatest slimy, jerkish
oh
character.
Yeah.
oh yeah, dude.
William Atherton, man. He had that. He had Ghostbusters. He had Real Genius. He just
I love that guy, dude. He's like, I was just making a phone call.
oh no, that's Hart Bachner.
Oh,
I was talking about the news reporter.
You talking about the news
Oh,
report, but you're talking about
yeah,
the
dude.
Whoa.
because then they had him in the second movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
and in
right.
Ghostbusters, and
No, I love the dude that plays like the guy because there's
Yeah.
always the guy at the office who's like hitting on your wife.
you're just like,
Yeah.
you missed some.
Yeah,
He's
There's
always,
always-
snorting. He's like sniffing all the
right.
time. Like,
There's
Tell
always
tell him
What
about
is
the
he doing?
Rolex.
yeah. Tell him about the Rolex. I mean, I love Die Hard, and so this is where it came to personal preference because Die Hard's probably obviously my favorite movie of all time. But Armageddon comes in here
oh.
because
Oh no.
I hate to admit this, but no movie makes me cry every single time than when Bruce Willis is up in the thing talking to his daughter and he's like, I'm about to save the world. And like, and you're just like, come on, dude.
Well, it hits even more
No.
hard now with
No,
having a
you're
kid.
missing it. You're totally missing the
Dude.
whole point. It's
It doesn't
because
matter, dude.
he lets
Well,
Ben Affleck live. That's
Right,
the
right.
best part. It's
Well,
like, no, don't do it. Let Ben Affleck die.
right. No. And he's
Let
like,
him die.
no. But he's also like this legit contractor. Like he's
Yeah.
got all the dudes. Like you're gonna call someone to save the world. You're calling Bruce Willis, and then they go in there and they're like, "Hey, we built this thing." And he's like, "Yeah, it's my model." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, now you're like the most legit dude in the world." But like I said, when it comes down to the end, dude, and you're like, "Come on, dude, Bruce Willis, you can't be like any more of like the champion of the world."
Well,
But
also,
you gotta admit, Steve Buscemi steals that movie, though.
Oh, dude, no. Oh, but I even
it's
love
like Con Air Steve Buscemi.
I love Owen Wilson that movie, dude. Like Owen Wilson's out there doing like weird stuff.
He's in it
dude.
for
And
like
then,
10 minutes.
Yeah.
no, dude. He's one of the guys they bring in, dude. He's like,
I know, but he's one of the first to go.
right.
Dude.
Steve Buscemi's on the. He's like, yeehaw!
he's like, I was doing the thing. I was writing it in,
And then he's
right.
like,
No,
Get off.
spends all the
9
money and
foot
everything
nuke.
because he thinks he's gonna.
That's the thing about the ending, because when I remember watching it in theater as a kid, and they're like,
dude,
they
so
drew the
good.
straws, and you're like, no. You knew
Right.
it. You're like, no, he's not.
Right.
Yeah, you know exactly what he's gonna do. But they did it in a way where it wasn't over the top. And that's the
Right.
best part. It's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. I'm doing this. And that was what was cool about Armageddon.
Well, they should
I
have
didn't
let Will
think about
Patton do it.
It was just, it's such a, to me, what I like about it is that everybody, all the critics are like, oh, this is not going to be a good movie. And then
Of course.
became a classic, and they're like, critics don't know what they're talking about. People loved it. It became one of those movies. It's like, it doesn't matter what the popular mainstream thought about it. Like the people loved it, and the people have spoken. So that's my number one, Bruce Willis.
That's the other one. That's good. Mine's Die Hard, of course. It's just Die Hard.
I mean, you can't go against it.
I mean, yippee-ki-yay. I mean, the ending,
Mr.
so
Falcon.
awesome because he's like, everyone's like laughing. He's like, yeah, buddy. And he kills the dude. I mean, there's just so many great lines. That movie is just, that's one of the movies that I'm not saying it should have won, should have been nominated. It should have gotten the nod. Like, that's one of the best pictures of like 1988. Like, tell me the best picture of 1988. Maybe you can tell me. It was like,
Wasn't it like 86?
No, it was
I thought
88.
it was
It was
88.
88. I thought it was
Jeez.
86 too. It was 88.
That's later than I thought it was.
Yeah. I think Lethal Weapon was 87, right?
87 was Lethal
Yeah.
Weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
88, you had. Ugh.
Exactly.
Well, it was. Let me get by. Those movies.
I think the issue is like
No
Lethal
one
Weapon.
took action movies for anything.
Right, they didn't take them as serious, like because
No,
Lethal
no.
Weapon and
The Last
Die Hard.
Emperor won.
Oh,
Which is
Jesus.
understandable. That's gonna win. But I'm
But then
talking.
you had Broadcast News, which that should have been nominated. Fatal
It's a good
Attraction,
movie. Good movie.
Good movie. Yeah.
Hope and Glory, never heard of it,
Yeah,
No.
and Moonstruck.
Moonstruck's not terrible.
Yeah,
Moonstruck's
I'd
good.
still put it ahead of Fatal Attraction, Moonstruck,
And
Hope and Glory.
Moonstruck. Oh yeah, yeah. And I haven't seen Hope and Glory, so I can't speak directly to that. But I would put it ahead for sure.
I think Hope and Glory could fall off the list. Or Die Hard.
Yeah, because I think action movies they were good movies for people to watch. I don't think they were just considered like artistic.
It's just like quarterbacks that are like 5'10" back in the day. No one's like, no, you have to be 6'4".
Yeah.
The same thing nowadays. Die Hard would have been nominated.
Yeah. Oh
easily.
Yeah.
Hands
Would
down.
have won Best Picture nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. People would love it. Yeah. So the crazy thing about Bruce Willis movies were, to me, Derek, you probably saw the same thing. Was there were so many good movies. It's pretty incredible how many good movies he's been in.
Well, yeah, and then there's a lot that where he's like just a supporting actor, like I did
Right.
with
Oh,
Pulp Fiction. You mean there? What's the one with him and Denzel? What is that one called? The him and Denzel and about terrorism. They lock down New York City.
right. Jackal? No, not Jackal.
No. Annette Bening's in it. Let me look here.
I know it's a different movie, but when you were saying that, I started thinking about Red.
Yeah, Red is great.
Right. I was like, thinking about him being in supporting actor movies.
Yeah.
And obviously Pulp Fiction, he was like, not the primary in that.
The Siege.
The Siege. That's what it is.
Well, then Tears from the Sun was a great movie.
Yeah, Tears of the Sun. But even movies, I don't think people understand like what he was doing back then with Color of Night and Hudson Hawk and things like that. Like he had so many Blind Date. Like he had so many good movies.
Fifth Element.
Oh yeah, and so that was one.
Was good.
So I took Fifth Element was in my top 8. It was in like my top 8 because I love the Fifth Element.
It's a good concept.
Yeah.
Here is one that's underrated. Last Man Standing.
Yeah. Last Man Standing. Great movie. Yeah, I love that movie.
Nobody's Fool with Paul Newman.
Yeah. But then
Striking Distance.
Oh, so I have to mention this because Holly would be mad if I didn't.
What death
That
becomes her?
no, striking
Oh,
distance
really?
is she was mad that I didn't put it in the top five
Nice.
because she thinks striking distance might be top three,
Whoa.
which is a good movie. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's great. And she's like, "Oh, if you don't put striking distance in there," and I was like, "Look, you've seen like 1/10 of the movie, so don't tell me." But striking distance is a good movie. I think it's worthy of a nomination.
How about look who's talking?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, look, dude,
The first, I mean,
whole 9 yards. Come on, dude.
yeah.
Like, it might not be top five, but I love that movie. It was so funny.
It's amazing how many movies he's played in.
Dude, it's crazy how many
And
movies he's been in.
it's like how are you in that many freaking movies?
But I'll tell you, like, if you go
We didn't
back
even
and
go ahead.
look at Tom Cruise's movies, dude. If you go through Tom Cruise's movies, because for me, they don't all of them don't jump out because always it's like Top Guns and Top Gun and uh Mission Impossible and Days of Thunder. Like those movies stick out in my mind because I've seen them so many times. But there's so many movies that he's done.
Here's one Bruce Willis one, and I didn't put this is one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies, but it's not because he's in it, but it's not him that makes it. Is Lucky Number 11.
Slevin, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Great
Sin
movie.
City. Sin
Oh,
City.
Sin
Like
City.
same thing, dude.
Yeah.
You're like, it's a great movie, but you don't associate it with Bruce Willis being the top role.
Yeah.
Surrogates, which
Surrogates. I actually really like Surrogates, dude. And what was the other one with the oh yeah, dude. Why can't I think of it right now? The list was so large that as I kept eliminating them, I was like, how am I eliminating these movies?
Yeah. And that's the problem with all this. It's like, yeah, there's so many. It's kind of annoying the way the Oscars work because they just sit there and say, "Well, this is the best five movies." It's like, come
Right.
on, just skip it. It's hard. You can't just.
It's easier these days because movies are so crappy.
Yeah.
But back then, could you imagine trying to pick the best movies in the 80s and 90s?
No.
No
can't.
way. No way. It's
90s was the height
impossible.
of all movies.
Right. Dude, these days, I have a hard time picking five movies I want to vote for.
Yeah. There's so many movies in the 90s that didn't even get nominated that should have got nominated. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and these days, I
and
can't
then
even
the ones
choose a
that
good movie.
won shouldn't have won.
True
Right.
Romance would have won like
True
it would
Romance,
have won
dude.
Best Picture hands down. True Romance.
Here's the one that still, and I know this is off topic, but the one movie that I'm still gonna die on a hill for that should have won Best Picture but lost to a crappy movie, L.A. Confidential.
Yeah. Dude, Kevin Spacey.
Nah, all those.
Yeah, Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe, all amazing. James Cromwell, Donnie DeVito.
But let's just talk about like the difference between movies these days and the movies those days. For example,
Well, there's no
Tell-
independent movies anymore.
but just tell me like one movie that could compare to a movie like Usual Suspects. Compare a movie these days to Usual Suspects.
You can't.
No, you can't because
Impossible.
they don't make independent films anymore.
Right, but they
You
don't
have to
make
go through
like
a
plot-driven, good acting, suspense, thriller, mystery. Like you have to watch the movie. I watch a movie these days. I know what's going to happen within the first 15 minutes. I already know the end.
I'll be watching a movie with Caitlin, and I'm like, well, this is what's going to happen.
Yep, that's
and
the
then
killer. You know,
yeah.
fun. Yeah, thanks for watching this movie. And so you just have to like be quiet, right? Otherwise, you ruin the movie, and then you get in
Right.
trouble. You know, it's stupid. You know, because it's like it's all like there's indicators
Mhm.
throughout the whole movie, right? And that's all it is. It's like indicators. Like here's another indicator. You're like, dude, I just know what's gonna happen, and I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't remember. There was one movie we were watching. I can't remember it now, but I was glad that it had a little twist to what I was like, oh, okay. Oh, it was something stupid. It was the new Adam Sandler Jennifer Aniston movie.
Oh, the
The sequel to
detective one. Yeah, the
yeah.
detective sequel.
They
Yeah,
did like
yeah,
a little thing where then they tricked you a little bit. Like they
right.
said it like, oh, this is what's gonna happen, and then they set it up to like trick you for a second, and then so I was like, oh, that's nice. At least they did something.
I just watched that like I don't know 3 weeks ago, and I was like, this. I knew they were tricking you. That's what I was like. What the? This is stupid. Um, but yeah, it's hard to find movies like that. That's the problem. Like you can't watch them anymore.
Well, it's funny because then like we watch movies from back then, like when Caitlin watched Usual Suspects, she knew because it was Kevin's, she knows who Kevin Spacey is. But when we
Right,
watched
right.
it,
Yeah, we didn't know.
like he wasn't a big time actor. So it's like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah, it's just some random guy.
mhm. That's like, they don't make movies like Primal Fear.
Oh, I love Primal Fear.
Like Edward Norton's performance in that movie.
And how do you leave Edward Norton off the list?
Yeah. It's not because he's got the quality, not the quantity.
Right. But I mean, Rounders, dude, American History X, Primal Fear. Like, come on, dude. Those are
People
just
versus Larry Flint.
yeah, amazing movies. Oh, I forgot about Tom Cruise, Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was that's where he should have won an Oscar.
Right, right. That was good stuff.
All the right moves.
Dude.
The Outsiders.
Yeah, The Outsiders, dude. Yeah, that guy killed it, man. Like Tom Cruise.
How didn't Ralph Macchio get nominated for an Oscar for The Outsiders?
Right. I don't know. I think Pony Boy, what's his name?
C. Thomas Howell.
C. Thomas Howell, right? I think he probably would have got it before Machio.
Macchio got the death scene though. He would have been supporting.
Right, best supporting actor. All right, good stuff, guys. Good podcast. Thanks for listening. Everybody's listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, appreciate the listens and the likes. And we'll see you guys next time.